Hey you, thanks for stopping by. You've read the title, you've seen the thumbnail, and after a lot of coverage that I've already done on the show, let's just get straight into my review for the fifth and final season of Netflix's You. There will be no spoilers. You Season 5 is the second season in the series to kick us off with a pre-existing relationship, but as per usual, it's yet another new beginning in its own way, thanks to the return to New York, Joe's rise to fame, and a soulmate that he doesn't hate for a change. Things move along the same way they always do. We're introduced to the boatload of new characters, we receive an update on the lives of the returning characters, except for the ones that surprise us and Joe later, and the first few scenes with those characters set the tone for what Joe's relationship is like with those characters. And as you can imagine, some will grow on us, maybe switch sides at some point, and others we will grow to hate. Whether that's on behalf of Joe or not is up to the viewer as per usual. The big difference this time around is that you have more legacy characters. You have characters that matter to Joe beyond the love interest and the occasional little kid. This time you have actual offspring, Henry. You have Bronte, characters who bring out the side of Joe that isn't embracing the monster he's become in recent seasons. Because whether Reese would have liked it or not, Joe does have a functioning heart, but you have the legacy characters who aren't Team Joe, which shake things up a bit, mixed in with the Lockwood siblings that he doesn't have favor with, who are also rich, resourceful, and could get away with things the same way he could. So this season has a pretty solid foundation. The question is, what's their execution like? I'll give you an example. Nadia, who returns this season, was a good addition to season 4, keeping in mind that she was likely a stand-in for Ellie, but their execution for how she came to be onto Joe was horrible. She was looking at the possibility of someone being a serial killer from a writer's point of view. She believed that an outsider who continuously found himself to be a hero of the story has to be a villain in someone else's. And that's why she decided to investigate him in the first place, which makes zero logical sense in the real world. But this time around, thanks to legacy characters, some of which going all the way back to season 1, there's more reason and testimony to suspect Joe. And thanks to his favor and resources, there's just as good of a fight to challenge it, leading to improvisation on both sides to come out on top. And Kate is at the center of it all, tied between staying faithful to the man she married and truly questioning who did she marry. And I know that sounds like a spoiler, but this plot is implied in the trailer, so I'm going to leave it in. Now I'm going to talk about the formula. The story was told, but how was it told? Did they go back to season 1 style? Did they go back to a season 2 sequel route? A mix of both, like season 3? Or a split in half, such as season 4? Well, I'll tell you. They went with a hybrid of seasons 2 and 3, which makes sense. The former is a fan favorite season, and the latter is the closest predecessor to this season. And here's why that was the best way to go. In season 1, it wasn't all that common for us to see what was going on in Beck's life unless it was by Joe peeking his head through her curtains. It was common enough that it wasn't always through Joel's POV, but not too common either. And it takes after the book, so of course. In season 2, there was a little more of it with Love, because they were setting up for the twist that she's also obsessive. And then season 3 fully leans into it with scenes that give her an inner monologue. Plus, like season 3, season 5 picks up with a relationship already established from the beginning, thanks to the previous season's ending. But they not only give Joe and those returning characters their own spotlight as well, but the legacy characters. You can probably guess why that's very important. So, the ending. Let's talk about it. Before I tell you anything, those who haven't watched my You videos before should probably know that I'm not anti-Joe, and I'm okay with saying that confidently because he's a fictional character. What this suggests is that my definition of a good ending and a good fate for Joe might not be the same as everyone else's. Without telling you too much, I think the entire season serves as a beacon of hope for those who want the show to end a certain way, and that's on all sides, which is why I mentioned the formula that mentions everyone sharing the spotlight. The legacy of wanting to see Joel fall, the resistance against him reaching such a comeuppance, because why should he really? And those in the middle who might think a little something is fair, but not too much. And how did they handle that? Who wins in the end? Well, expectations are completely subverted for everyone on all sides, in an almost provocative manner too. It reminds me of that tweet Nick Fuentes put out when Trump won the election. That's how provocative it was. On to my final thoughts. I have a lot I want to say, but I'm going to have to wait until the show is out to the public when I can actually talk in depth about the events that unfold in this season and how they decide to wrap everything up. For now, what I can say is that there are a lot of factors at play with how things were going to go. There's the fact that it started 4 seasons ago, while also being a show that does its own thing each season. So it could either go the full circle route or have its own thing that only matters the season that we're currently on, with legacy characters playing a very small part. Then you have wokeness that Netflix is known for, but that's also the irony of a show like this, a main character who's gotten away with so much while also being white and attractive. Which means they could go either way with it to teach that lesson or take an axe to it. Or you could, of course, stay in the middle. That's what I decided to do when I wrote my own vision for Season 5, which I highly recommended watching before the real season is out for everyone. Happy to say, I got quite a few things right. And that is all I have for you folks. Thanks for making it to the end. To my Netflix connections that got me this early screener, if you're watching this, I hope I didn't say too much, but I really don't feel like redoing this video, so please don't make me take it down. Speaking of which, to everyone wondering how this came to be, a review of the 5th and final season weeks before its release, my answer to that is to check the date on your way out. Until next time, goodbye.